Welcome to Vermontitude, a collaborative effort between Great Eastern Radio, the Brattleboro Reformer, and BCTV to bring you the stories behind the stories on the topics you want to learn more about. Because there's always more, so there'll always be Vermontitude. Hosted by me, Peter Fish Case. Welcome to Vermontitude. New episodes drop every Tuesday and can be found by going to vermontitude.com, reformer.com, brattleboro.tv, and locally on Comcast Channel 1078. We come to you from our studios at the Innovation Box on Landmark Hill. I'm Peter Fish Case, and each week I cover the topics that are of concern to Windham County and the towns that reside within its borders. This week, it was interesting. We're going to be joined by Kate O'Connor, and she brought to the Select Board's attention a bill that I found interesting and a little disheartening, and she's agreed to come in and sort of talk to us about it because you served on an advisory panel for the decommissioning, correct?
That's correct. First of all, thanks for having me, because this is an issue I think not just Brattleboro, but the surrounding communities in Windham County, especially Vernon, really need to pay attention to.
Right.
And it came to my attention because from 2014 to 2018, I was on the Vermont Decommissioning Citizens Advisory Panel, which was a panel put together by the legislature to sort of make sure that the decommissioning at Vermont Yankee was a public process and people knew about it.
Right.
So I served as the chair, and I was appointed by the governor. So I stumbled upon this bill. It's H601, and it's in the legislature right now, and it's in the committee, Energy and Digital Infrastructure Committee. And what it's about, if you just look at it on the surface, it's about clean energy standards and where we want to get to with renewables and all this stuff by certain time periods. But what it also does, right currently, only the fuel generated at Vermont Yankee can be stored on the Vermont Yankee site. So we got what we got. We got 58 dry casks filled with spent fuel, which we're trying to not be there anymore. It's the Department of Energy that is really supposed to be storing this stuff, and it's their responsibility, but they have no plan. So right now, these 58 casks are there. What this bill allows is for spent fuel from other places to be stored at the Vermont Yankee site, which nobody wants what we have there now, but they're going to allow other spent fuel from other nuclear power plants to come to Vermont and sit with these 58 casks, which is not a good thing. And it also takes out the public process. So the public has no say whether this happens or not. And it opens the door, and this is there's some people that like nuclear power, there's some people that don't. What this bill also does is to allow for the construction of more nuclear power plants in the state of Vermont.
Okay.
And whether some people again like it, some people don't. But now there's a public process that people can weigh in on the construction of, if they're taking away the public process in the siting of the fuel and in the siting of a plant. So I think there's, things to be concerned about. But number one is opening up our little corner of southern Vermont to be a place where spent nuclear fuel is stored until the federal government figures it out, which at this point doesn't look like any time in the future.
No, for sure. One of the things that you had mentioned and that I thought was a little bit of an overstep and overreach was none of our delegation are involved in this bill.
No, it is sponsored by two state reps, one from Rutland County and one from Caledonia County. And I recently listened to when a bill is introduced, the Speaker says it's going to go to whatever committee it's going to go to. So I listened to the committee, the Energy and Digital Infrastructure Committee meeting, where the two sponsors came and talked about it. This is coming somehow out of the administration, the Scott administration, because the two sponsors of the bill couldn't answer any questions about the waste storage piece. And they punted to the Department of Public Service. So there's something that it's bizarre because it doesn't involve, our own legislators are not sponsors of this bill, and it's people from Rutland and Caledonia County. Obviously, they're not going to have nuclear waste trucked to their backyard to stay forever.
Yeah, that's I find that really very concerning. I mean, I would like to think even if we were proposing that something get trucked to Rutland or Caledonia, that we would say, well, yeah, you need somebody from there to sign on this. If you want my signature, they need to tell me that it's okay that they want this. Right. But we weren't extended that courtesy from what I can see.
No. And what's worse about it is everything, all the language about sort of public participation and sort of oversight is taken out of the process on citing this waste storage facility. You know what I mean? Bringing this waste in. So we have no say if this bill passes. Like, it's just going to be open for waste to be stored on this site. And there's no limit. I mean, obviously the limit is how much you can fit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, something should be reasonable here. Yeah. Right? Because this whole thing doesn't feel reasonable to me.
No. And that's why I brought it to got up and said something during the select board meeting, because I really think it's something that it doesn't just impact Vernon. It impacts, Guilford and Brattleboro and actually Windham County.
Right.
Because it's a huge thing to have a nuclear storage facility in your community. Not only safety, but economic development. And
I mean, when the plant was running, there were at least some tax incentives for the people of Vernon. But I don't think that those same tax incentives exist now. And we're storing other people's garbage.
Yeah. And there's been for a while a bill in Congress that Peter Welch sponsored that would, while you're holding even the spent fuel that was generated in your own plant, while it's on your property, you'd get reimbursed.
Right.
But that's been a bill for a long time. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. So it's not like the people in Vernon are going to financially benefit from this at all.
Right.
And again, it's safety, and it's just there's no good reason for it. And it's being imposed. If it passes, it's being imposed upon us.
Okay. So I feel like you're a person that has worked inside those circles, so maybe it's fair. I mean, I know what I would tell people to do. I would tell them to reach out to our local delegation.
Yes.
Right? Is that the soundest advice that we can give out?
Yes. Everybody should. If you're listening to this and have any concerns about this whatsoever, it's H601, and it's called Clean Energy Standard Bill.
Which I find hysterical.
Right. Yeah. But within it is really all of this stuff that's not in the title. And I think we have to express our concerns to our local legislators. There's a lot of things that happen in Montpelier, and sometimes if you're a legislator, you're only watching the bill that's on, happening in your committee. And none of our Brattleboro legislators or the delegation from Vernon or Guilford, Zon Eastus, none of them are on this committee, which means, we have to make sure they know about it.
Right. Because
there are hundreds of bills. So, and we need to make sure our state senators know about it, or it's on their radar screen, because that's the only way we got to stop this from rolling in a direction where it gets to where it can get, well, it's too late. Sometimes things get because people don't know it. So
well, let's talk about this for a second, if we could. Like, what is our timeline? Do we have a timeline?
We don't. I've been paying attention to the committee schedule, and as of right now, it hasn't popped up. It's not popping up this week. Now Laura Sibilia, who represents Wilmington and Dover, or Wardsboro. Yeah. She's on this committee. So I think I have emailed her and asked her if she knows what the committee schedule is for this, because that's going to be really, really important. So we do have someone from down here that is on this committee that can, sort of maybe help us maneuver when is it coming up and what are the chances. And I'm one of these people that if somebody says to me, oh, there's no chance that that'll ever be taken up, don't worry. I still worry because
it's there.
Right. And there are forces there's obviously somebody out there that wants to store this is me.
Yeah.
Just being, I worked in state government for almost 12 years and worked with the legislature. This bill didn't come forward out of nothing.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like somebody was sitting at home and said, hey, I just want to introduce a bill that will allow spent nuclear fuel to be, come from somewhere else and be stored in Vermont. So I think we have to not make any assumptions that it's going to be okay. It won't go anywhere.
I feel like it's one of those like follow the money trail kind of a thing. I don't want to be like cynical or conspiratorial or anything like that, but that's what this feels like.
Yeah, because it didn't come from Vernon,
right?
And
it didn't come from anybody.
No,
in our county.
No. So I think it's one of these things that if people are listening to this, and you can follow it, the state of Vermont has a great website they have a legislative section, and you can go in and you can just type in H601 and it pops up and it tells you all about it. And you can read the text. Everybody should go and read the text. Then you'll see it starts off sort of milk toast, and then all of a sudden it's big for us down here,
right? Yeah.
So,
well, thank you for kind of being the watchdog on that and bringing that to our attention. Which is why the minute I heard about it, we talked about coming in and doing this just kind of broaden the reach and let everybody know what's happening. Yeah. So I appreciate that. Well, I really do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
And thanks because we have to be on top of this because it's something that is going to happen to us.
Right.
It's really not going to happen for our benefit. Nope. It's going to happen to us.
This is one of those things that are definitely going to happen to us. So, if we've learned nothing today, it's if this is something that you want to have a say in, reach out to our local delegation.
Yeah.
And that's pretty easy to find. You probably either voted for them or not voted for them, but you probably know who they are.
Yep.
So, Kate, thank you.
Thank you.